Hi, I wanted to take a few minutes to talk about your essay that you'll be working on this week, which is the literary analysis essay. Last week, you watched a video about what a literary analysis is, and you took a quiz kind of going through the different components that are required and we will be looking for. So here are your instructions for the assignment. You will choose an essay topic and you will pair it with one of the short stories that we have read this term so far. So you will choose either Snow, 10 Things, Muddling, Cathedral, or Nightstand to write about. Your essay will be 1,500 words long, and you'll complete an outline, which is due on June 1st, a rough draft that is due on June 3rd, a peer review that's due on June 4th, and your final draft that's due, I believe, on June 5th. I know this is really quick. It's the unfortunate downside of taking a 6-week course, but I'll be here to help you however I can. Please reach out to me. So, again, you will choose one of the essays or one of the short stories that we've read already, and you will then choose one of these topics. You will not write about each of these topics, only one for only one short story. So, here are your options. One of the most revealing types of conflict occurs when a character's inner struggles are resolved at great personal price. Often the character learns a lesson, but too late to help himself or another character. Explain how, in one of the works we've read, a character struggles but fails to learn a lesson in time, and thus serves as an example for the reader. In your essay, focus on the conflict within the character. Be sure to include the price paid as part of the resolution and the lesson to be learned. So for this topic, you will really be looking at the internal conflict or potentially external conflict that a character is facing. And then also considering a lesson that they learned, but not soon enough to be able to have the thing that the character might have wanted. This could really pair with most of the stories that we've read. So I think if you choose this, you can pretty easily put it with any of the stories. That said, it probably pairs best with either 10 Things, Muddling, or Nightstand. The next option is often in literary works. Authors choose a physical object which takes on a special significance in the work and becomes a symbol of something beyond itself. Show how, in a work that we've read, the author uses a symbol to convey an important meaning. In your essay, focus on the symbol and what it symbolizes. Be sure to discuss how the author uses it to convey a message to readers. So there's symbolism that's been used in Cathedral. Obviously, there was the cathedral there. We saw symbolism in Muddling. The actual muddled drink could be a symbol. There's other symbols that are used throughout that. In Snow, there was symbol. Snow itself is the symbol in that story, although there are others used. In 10 Things, we saw a number of smaller symbols like the avocado and things of that nature. So there's plenty of works that you can choose from here to write about symbolism and how it's used in one of the stories. So you can really kind of, again, choose any of the works to use this. Number 3, authors often use descriptive details to develop a setting for several purposes. In an essay, explain how the setting of one of the stories we've read related to events from the plot, related to characters, or built suspense. So when we think about setting, setting was particularly important in Muddling. When we think about Callistown, the town that Finley Cay is in, we got all of those descriptions of everything that's around there that very much southern small town, and it kind of takes on a life of its own because of the people who were there and what Finley is experiencing. So that might be a good story for this particular topic. Another story that might work very well is Nightstand, when you think about the setting of Pelham being in his home and the kind of town that he's in and that sort of thing. Number 4, discuss the theme of one of the stories we've read in class. Consider how the theme is developed and the impact it has on the reader. Here, you can choose any of these stories. You just want to correctly identify a theme for the story. If you have a question about whether the theme you're thinking about makes sense, please check in with me because we want to make sure that we have that correct. And then number 5, discuss the author's use of figurative language. Identify examples of figurative language from the story. Why did the author use these examples? What impact does the figurative language have on characterization, description of setting, mood, foreshadowing, theme, or the story overall? Be sure to explain the significance of each use of figurative language. Keep in mind here that figurative language is going to be language that is not meant to be literal. It adds a deeper meaning to what's actually being said. You might see this in the form of simile. You might see this in the form of metaphor. You might see this in the form of descriptive detail, like your use of imagery or personification. This could really be paired with any of the stories, but the key to this topic is making sure that you are correctly identifying the figurative language that is being used. So if you don't have a great understanding of figurative language, I would probably steer clear of this particular topic. But if you want to work on this one, please feel free to check in with me. I'm happy to help you however I can. When writing your essay, be sure you have an introductory paragraph, several body paragraphs, so at least 4 body paragraphs, and a conclusion. It's imperative that you use quotes, details, and examples from the story to prove your claims. You will also need to use MLA format, including in-text citations and a works cited page. If you don't have in-text citations when you quote, paraphrase, or summarize one of the stories, then it is considered plagiarism. If you don't have a works cited page, it is considered plagiarism based on a technicality. So please make sure you have those. And then please see the rubric for the final draft for specific elements for grading. I've also included a link to just some reminders on some formal writing guidelines about what you should and shouldn't do with the language you're using. And then I've also included an essay that's set up in MLA format for you to look at. This is a literary analysis essay of a story you haven't read, but you'll get kind of the idea of what I'm expecting. The expectations for this sample essay were a little bit different than yours, but I think you can see a pretty decent example of how this should look and how it should work. You'll notice the use of quotes and in-text citations. You'll notice the organization of this particular essay. I really encourage you to take a full look at this particular essay because it's pretty strong. They, in this class, were only required 5 total paragraphs. You're required 6, so please keep that in mind. And then you can kind of check out their works cited page as well. You can see that what that should look like by way of formatting and indentation and things of that nature. If you have any trouble with anything related to coming up with a topic or the drafting of your essay, please, please, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. Again, if I can help you, let me know.